by the Revs. And then, of course, we'll have you post-game until 11 o'clock tonight. So, last night we got the breaking news before we went home that there was a framework deal. It's okay, guys. But that's what this might just play the whole thing for 30 minutes. Why not? But last night we got the framework of a Brandon Aiyuk trade with the 49ers, and two teams were involved when it happened right away. It happened, and I went, something doesn't smell right here. If it's just about money, for Brandon Aiyuk, the Patriots is the spot. The Patriots is the spot, but if you had to choose, if you are a player in the NFL 2024, if you had to choose between the Cleveland Browns or the New England Patriots, and if you had to make a decision, who is it? Who are you choosing? It's not the Patriots. It's not. And if it's about money for Brandon Aiyuk, as everything he said it's about, it should be the Patriots. It should. But it's not. It's not. I've heard people make reference to the NBA in this one. I've heard that, and I push back. I push back. Everything that I have read or that I know about the Brandon Aiyuk situation is I think he wants to be a 49er. He wants to be. They're not going to budge. And they're in win now mode. And if he is not going to be on the field, they're going to dangle him out there. They're going to try to get whatever compensation they can get for him. But I think in Brandon Aiyuk's best interest, it's to stay with the 49ers. It's to stay there. You have a chance to win a championship. So I think what he is doing right now is showing that money is the number one thing for him. So this is where the Patriots come into the fold. If it's about money, if it's truly about money, the Patriots have it. They have it. Quite frankly, the 49ers have it too, but you know what? They're in win now mode. They're not going to give in to this guy long term. Isn't it funny that the report that came out last night was regarding two players who already restructured their deal and have term? Kendrick Bourne and Amari Cooper. I wrote an article today, 985thesportshub.com. Feel free to check it out if you'd like. But I just flat out asked the question, would you rather New England or Cleveland? In Brandon Aiyuk's case, it's neither. He wants to go to Pittsburgh. He wants to go to Pittsburgh. The 49ers want him. They're not going to give in to his demands financially. Pittsburgh can do the deal, but they really don't have a better deal. They don't have a better deal. The Patriots, on the other hand, they have Kendrick Bourne, who's been with the 49ers before, who makes just about $3.5 million, under $4 million. The Patriots will give high draft compensation. I don't think it's their first round pick. Could it be a second round swap? Maybe. Could it just be the second round pick? You might have to. But if you're going to give him $30 million plus, not sure if the second round pick makes sense, but maybe that's why where the swap comes in on that one. Here's the take. People aren't choosing the Patriots, and you can throw all the money at Brandon Aiyuk you want. He doesn't want to come here. He doesn't want to choose the Patriots. He wants to go to Pittsburgh because the 49ers aren't giving him the money. It's been happening for years now. For years. They could have gotten Calvin Ridley. They could have given him the money. Instead, he went to Tennessee. They could have given DeAndre Hopkins the money. They could have done it. They didn't. He went to Tennessee. Coordinators could have came to New England. You could have had Nick Caley back, the guy who left, went to McVay's offense. He could have been your guy, but you know what happened? They didn't want to pay him the money. They wanted Zach Robinson, but you know what happened? They couldn't pay him the money. People want to be here, but they don't want to pay, so they go elsewhere. In the end, people are no longer choosing New England because it's not a destination anymore. It's just not a destination. So when the reports come out, Cleveland, New England, those are the two teams with a framework. They used you. And you know what? They're using Cleveland too. Same division as Pittsburgh. That's what happened. Aiyuk wants to go to Pittsburgh. He wants to go to Pittsburgh. They have to give up more. That's just what it is. The 49ers are absolutely playing this out perfectly because you know why? If Pittsburgh doesn't work out, he doesn't want to go to New England. He does not want to go to Cleveland. So you know where he's going to end up? The 49ers. They are playing this beautifully. They're in win now mode. They have Deebo Samuel. Their first round pick dealt with a little bit of a shoulder thing today, but you know what? They have their guy of the future. They don't want to spend money on Aiyuk, but you know what? Win now. And if he's not going to play there, get the best compensation you can. And that's going to come from Pittsburgh because as the NBA comparison comes into play, players choose where they want to go. They choose where they want to go. Now, if you are a Patriots fan and you're like, go get him, it's just money, you might have to be really aggressive. Really aggressive. And Skaz, I don't know if you got that audio here, but Mike Reese, who's tied in, right? He's really tied in with the Crafts. Let's hear the audio from earlier today.
The influence of Bill Belichick still out there in New England. Our Patriots reporter Mike Reese, who's been all over this story, joins us live from Foxborough. No surprise, Gerard Mayo did not want to answer that question. However, what can you tell us about the approach that the Patriots are taking to get receiver Aiyuk?
All right, I'm going to give you one word. Aggressively. A source told me that the Patriots are willing to make Aiyuk one of the top 5 highest paid receivers in the NFL in average per year. Put him there right alongside Tyreek Hill of the Dolphins, A.J. Brown of the Eagles. And this all goes back to something that Elliott Wolf, the new vice president of player personnel, said in the offseason. He said, we want to weaponize the offense. Remember, they went hard after free agent receiver Calvin Ridley. We're willing to spend big for him, but Ridley ended up in Tennessee. Now they're willing to spend big to try to entice Aiyuk to want to come to New England.
The only way the Patriots will get Brandon Aiyuk is if they blow him out of the water with a deal, and I still think he won't come here. They can be as what's aggressive? $40 million a year? What's aggressive? What's aggressive for the New England Patriots? $35 million? Does Brandon Aiyuk want to play for the Patriots at $35 million? It's about the money. If he wants to win, he stays with the 49ers. If he wants to win, he stays with the 49ers. He's got his choice. He doesn't want to go to Cleveland. He doesn't want to go to New England. He wants to go to Pittsburgh. And they're using the Patriots. They're using the Browns, who are in Pittsburgh's division. But the team that has the most cap space and the team that really, really wants to weaponize the offense and be aggressive is the Patriots. But guess what? Players around the NFL no longer want to come to New England. Coaches don't want to come to New England. It'd be a huge hit for the Pats. It would be huge. Unfortunately, here we are again. A player has a decision to make, and it's not New England. Your thoughts, 617-779-0985. There's been reports all day. I've been following this thing. I was up early. I was reading stuff from people in Pittsburgh today and the 49ers, and I was looking at Cleveland's future salary cap and Amari Cooper and everything. Here's the deal. Nobody wants to come here. Nobody wants to come here anymore. 617-779-0985. What's the future of Brandon Aiyuk? We'll have more of that coming up on the other side. And what the hell happened to Matthew Judon today? What happened? I need more. We'll do it next on the other side, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
you're not willing to pin that down.
I would say there are still active conversations. There are still active conversations with more than two teams. I would put it that way. Again, because there's different scenarios that could end up playing out with everything here. It's not merely a matter of who the 49ers have agreed with on compensation with at this point. Ultimately, Aiyuk has, again, a level of control over this that, hey, this is the best contract. This is where I want to go. Now figure out what that's going to look like. So we still have moving parts here, Rich. All the teams that have been out there, between the Browns and the Patriots, the Steelers, the Commanders, on some level, everybody has been involved. And, that's what happens when you've got a really dynamic young player who's coming off his best season in the NFL, and teams think that he can be a difference maker. But the 49ers have to get what they want, and Aiyuk has to get what he wants. And so far, those two things have not meshed together.
All right, back here 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. We got Revolution Soccer coming up at 7:30, but we'll be on right after the game until 11. So that was Tom Pelissero, right? Why am I saying the name wrong?
Tom Pelissero.
Pelissero. Wow, that was a tongue twister for me right there. That's Skaz, everybody. Last night when we were leaving here, I was just trying to make sense of everything. Like, wow, the Browns and the Patriots. And I'm sitting there and I go, well, if that's the case, between Cleveland and New England, I would go Cleveland. And my reasoning was because Amari Cooper's there. And to play with Jerry Jeudy and guys like that, it would be somehow, some way, if it was Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, and you want to throw Brandon Aiyuk into the mix, that's a monstrous team. But the report is Amari Cooper, who just restructured his deal, and they front-loaded it, would be a great addition to win now for the 49ers. So that was the framework. The framework was him involved. I'll get to the tiers in a second because I want to bring Skaz in for that. But as I'm leaving last night, I go, it's Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh. They're using the Patriots. They're using Cleveland in particular because they're in the same division. The Patriots want to get a weapon. They have the money. They could give up Kendrick Bourne. Done deal. It would be a win. It would be a huge win for the Patriots. It would. Which even makes more sense of why it's not going to happen. So the Cleveland aspect of it, they have huge cap issues going forward. And I know the cap's crap, but they have huge cap issues next year. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. So this is where I bring up tiers. Skaz, let's do some tiers. Brandon Aiyuk tiers. There's one team and one player he said he has wanted to play with all off season long. What team is that, Skaz?
That would be Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders.
Bing, bang, boom.
Former Arizona State teammates, I believe.
There you go. So I don't know what the Commanders could do for a deal, but they're the sleeper for me. So if I was doing tiers, Skaz, and I'm curious what your tiers would be, I think it's the 49ers paying them. I think it's Pittsburgh. And then I think it's Washington. I don't think Cleveland or New England are on that list. And here's the other thing. If it's strictly money, the Patriots have it all. The Patriots have the young quarterback. The Patriots have it. It's them. But why not Washington? If it's money, why not Washington?
Yeah, and they're a team that hasn't been afraid to throw around some crazy contracts. Yeah, and I know
new owner,
new quarterback trying to make a splash. Like I know they have McLaurin, they have Jahan Dotson, like they have some weapons, but Brandon Aiyuk's. I like McLaurin a lot, but I would probably have Aiyuk over him still. So yeah, that's one to me where it's like, why did they pull out so early? That kind of raises some eyebrows for me. Like Aiyuk was posting Instagrams and social media clips of him watching Commanders film over the offseason, basically begging for them to make a move for him. And now the 49ers are, back open opening up discussions again, and Washington is nowhere to be found. So, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I still think the 49ers keeping him is probably number one, but I'd have Pittsburgh right there because it seems like they've been lying in the weeds on this one. They're a team that is known for their wide receivers. I know we think of the defense, but they've had an unbelievable pipeline of wide receivers there. Aiyuk obviously wants to go there, it seems, of his choices between New England, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. So if you're the Patriots, is he worth the overpay? I think that's where it starts to get a little crazy is you don't need to overpay for Brandon Aiyuk. I mean, a little bit, yeah. It's the NFL. You're going to have to overpay for everybody. But Alex Barth mentioned this, and I've brought it up a couple times because I think it's a great point. Wide receivers in the NFL become available now more than ever. Someone is disgruntled. Someone is unhappy almost every offseason, not even in the offseason, during the regular season too. Like you see the cracks with these wide receivers and their quarterbacks or the offensive coordinator. So if the Patriots feel like they're going to have to overextend for Brandon Aiyuk with this roster, I don't think it's worth it. You can wait. They have a ton of money. You're going to have a ton of money next year too. And I know that's not fun to say, punting it down the road, but wide receivers become available in the NFL, and if they're not completely sold on Brandon Aiyuk being the guy for Drake May, then don't over pursue him. Don't make it, their second round pick is going to be 35 next year, 34 maybe. So yeah, I like Aiyuk a lot, but if it starts to get crazy, a bidding war for Brandon Aiyuk, I don't think the Patriots need to overextend themselves.
If it's a Washington deal, it's going to be Terry McLaurin. Let's call it a second and a fourth and call it a day.
You don't think they could do it for Dotson?
Well, Dotson too, but now the thing with Dotson is control.
Yes.
Right? He's a first-round pick, and they'd have him for so isn't it funny that it was Bourne and Cooper were the names because those guys just have extensions now. So if the 49ers do it, they have a guy with term that can help them right away. So I only bring up McLaurin because he signed a 3-year deal, got a bunch of upfront money, and if you look at his numbers, Skaz, they're just in line to everything Aiyuk has done. I don't know if I compare the players, but I'm just giving you as far as the numbers go, they both have 25 touchdowns in their career. They both get 70 catches a year. Now Ayuk's more of a yards guy, definitely. But it's a comparable player where if the 49ers get it, they can still win now. He still has a contract through 2025. Then they can talk about an extension. So I still think Washington's a team in the mix. When it comes to Pittsburgh, from what I gather and what I've read, he'll take less money to go to Pittsburgh because it's where he wants to go. I don't know the framework of a deal. I don't think George Pickens is in the deal. I don't think it can be Pickens.
I don't think Pittsburgh would do that.
So I think it's going to be like Roman Wilson, who they just drafted in the third round, or Calvin Austin. It's not a good. So I think it would be a first Austin and like a pick swap third round or something. But it's less money. And if he chooses the deal, at least the 49ers are getting the return. Right? They're in win now mode, but they get a return. So I think Washington's a better deal. I think Washington's a better deal for the 49ers. The deal for the Patriots isn't a great deal, but they get a guy they know, short-term money under a deal, and they get the picks. If it's Cleveland, they're getting Amari Cooper. They want to win now. That's a great deal. Plus, they get the picks. So I think the tiers for me, in my opinion, are. I still think it's the 49ers 1. It's Pittsburgh 2. It's Washington 3. Patriots probably come in 4th. And they're going to offer him the most money, and it's not a destination here anymore, unfortunately. That's sad. They could give the most money. They could offer the most money. He doesn't want to be here.
Do you think it's more about New England as a whole, top down, or do you think it's Fields and Russell Wilson?
Or Deshaun Watson, right?
But I'm just saying, he wants to play in Pittsburgh. We know he wants to play in Pittsburgh. Is the draw there the Steelers, or is the draw Russell Wilson and Justin Fields? Or is Mike Tomlin, what is his draw to Pittsburgh? That's what I want to know.
It could be the lineage of wide receivers there, right? You can go back to the Lynn Swann days. They have just been a factory of wide receivers.
Santonio Holmes, Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace,
Plaxico Burress. There's a
Hines
million
Ward,
of them. There's
yeah.
a million of them. Millions. They have guys that were in the league who had to leave the league, and they were great.
Martavis Bryant.
Right? They got so many of them. So I don't know. I'm going with that. It's just a take. But the Patriots, Kendrick Bourne in a second-round pick swap in the money, it's not happening. And it just shows you how far they've fallen. Teams just like, I want to go to New England. That's where they went. One other thing I wanted to bring up, because I know we got the Revs coming up. Matthew Judon was there and then wasn't. I'm going to bring it up one more time. What about Kendrick Bourne, Matthew Judon, and a second-round pick swap? They win now. They get out of his situation. They get a prime-time pass rusher to go with Bosa. They get Bourne. It's a win-now move to move on from a disgruntled guy.
I think that move would tell you more about how the Patriots feel about the Judon situation than the 49ers, though. I think that would be the Patriots saying it's unsalvageable, which isn't exactly the message I've gotten from them. It seems like they still think it is, so that would kind of surprise me. But if you're the 49ers, why wouldn't you do that? Help both sides of the ball. Well, you're not really helping the offense getting Bourne, but you're improving the defense and getting a third wide receiver.
They save $4 million, and they probably do a pick swap. Second-round picks. Let's say the Patriots are the fifth worst team in the league. You swap picks. Pats get the 30th. They get the second. You get your weapon. But, hey, they could use the money on a tackle someday, too. Got Revolution Soccer coming up. You know something's going to break in the next hour. It's going to happen. Follow us on Twitter. We're going to hang out with our intern, Kevin. Skaz is here. Join us after the Revolution game coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports
WBCFM 91 bus from the Town Fair Tire Studio, the home of the Bruins, Patriots,